Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Hey, welcome to Business Coaching Secrets. Karl Bryan coming at you. Appreciate you guys being here, and I am here sans Road Dog. Why am I sans Road Dog? Because it's a day after Christmas. And I told Road Dog to enjoy his family and that I would fly the flag on his behalf. So you're here with me solo. And by the way, I'm just recovering from a cold, which was very exciting to have during Christmas, but all good. And then the entire family has it, by the way. But anywho, let's not worry about that. So today I was just thinking, got a couple of questions, but I was just gonna riff and see if I can hopefully provide some value. So some questions. What am I going to do? I'm going to start with, here's a question that I've got in a direct or indirect way, Sam Bankman-Fried, right? SBF. So this is the FTX guy, right? Is he guilty of fraud? Do I think he's going to jail? Do you think he did it intentionally? Right? So I'm just going to answer that. What do I think? Let me just look. Yes, he's guilty of fraud. Yes, I think he will go to jail. No, I do not think he did anything illegal intentionally. I think he just, he's a 25-year-old guy building a company that was well and truly beyond his abilities. I think he's 30 years old now, right? But when you were the age of, let's just call it 25 to 30, and I gave you $34 billion, right? And then put your head on the front of Forbes magazine, do you think you might get a little bit of God complex? I would dare say the answer is yes. And remember, we talk a million, a billion, and then a trillion. To give you context of what $34 billion might look like to a guy who's not 30 yet, a million seconds is 11 days. A billion seconds is 32 years. And then I ask you, if a billion seconds is 32 years, what do you think a trillion seconds is? And again, just for context, that is 32,000 years. All right. So what am I getting at? Why do I say that? To compare a million to a billion, like 34 billion to 34 billion, like 11 days to 32 years, there's nothing comparative about it. You give somebody $34 billion, and again, they haven't had their 30th birthday, they might start making some stupid decisions. Society puts this crown on tech founders' heads. It's like they're part of the royal family. And do I agree with the royal family and the way that we, position them? And, I'm not even going to get into the Harry and Meghan, debauchery. It's just that the royal family's been around for 100 years, and they've worn those crowns for 100 years. Again, these tech founders come into it again before their 30th birthday, and we're just idolizing them at a level and put their head on the front of Forbes magazine, right? I think he was just like cross collateralizing assets that were going up in value. And he's thinking to himself that everybody was winning. You don't get to a $34 billion. You don't become worth $34 billion or whatever the number was. I don't even know if that's correct, right? But that's him personally. That's not the platform. That's him personally. But a lot has gone right along the way, right? So he's just thinking that I'm winning. I'm going to continue to win. I can continue to give more. I can continue to more, to the political pundits that are, holding him up with his crown, giving to charities. And it's like, look at me. I'm such a great guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And So everything was going right to that point. Like, how do you know how much he was doing that was illegal on the way to his $34 billion net worth that we don't know about it? But all of a sudden the wheels fall off. So it goes back to Warren Buffett, where what he says is that you don't know who's swimming naked until the tide comes in, right? So there's so much regulation around finance and managing other people's money that even the smartest people in the industry don't. What I mean? There's a reason why they've got, what I mean, that there's all this regulation, and then there's all these people around them to make sure they're not doing things that are fraudulent, because again, you don't find out what is fraudulent until the waters disappear. So anyway, it wasn't a Ponzi scheme. I don't believe that he was the next Bernie Madoff, right? Bernie Madoff knew that he was lying, cheating, and stealing from the people that were trusting him. Like, imagine stealing people's life savings. Can you imagine looking in somebody's eyes and, like, he knew a lot of these people, right, that were literally giving him his life, their life savings. Um, that would just make you throw up in your mouth. But and then, by the way, um, he did, the FTX guy, right? He did an interview, and his goal was obviously to win over the public. And, like, to say that that was a huge mistake would be like an understatement on steroids. And I believe that interview, well, people much smarter than me believe that interview will make him go to jail for a longer period of time than he otherwise would have. Right. And it's not because of what he said. It's just because at this stage, anything he says outside of a controlled environment, with a lawyer present, is just a horrific idea. Like, my heavens, where is he getting it? Both of his parents are lawyers, by the way. So that how that happens, I just got no idea. But the bottom line is, yeah, I think he's guilty of fraud. Yes, I think he's going to go to jail. Just too many people, very important, want to see him in an orange jumpsuit, and I think that that's going to happen. But no, he didn't do anything intentionally. He's a tech founder. He doesn't have a master's degree in finance, or at least I don't think he does. And Hitler was Time Magazine of the Year at one stage, right? So, like, we just putting the crown on people's heads and holding them too lofty, not a great idea. And by the way, is this going to help you get coaching clients? The answer is no. My thoughts on that, though, to be able to speak. So this is the kind of question, right? That again, I'm having private conversations with people, and then this comes up, and what are my thoughts? My opinion is that when you can speak on topics like this at a macro level, and have opinions, and not just opinions that are somebody else's, but like formed opinions that you might be able to back up in a roundabout way. I think that you're going to find, when talking to business owners, that the macro concepts are going to give you an enormous amount of credibility. Do I think that you should be spending all of your time thinking about these macro topics like Elon Musk and Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, etc.? The answer is absolutely no. But I do think you should be looking at these things and being very, very, taking the business lessons away, right? Like, as in, being worth $34 billion before the age of 30, and then thinking that you're responsible for, just could you imagine the level of responsibility the kid had at that age, right? Like, so I don't know. I just think that, on a macro level, good to be able to talk about those things. Those are my thoughts on it for anybody who cares, which probably a lot of people. Probably the answer is you're not. But that being said, I think it's super important, And then, so why do you do all these things? Getting coaching clients, building your multiple six figure, your 7-figure business coaching company. Like, what does it do for you? What does it do for your clients when you help them make more money? And then I would say that it gives you options, right? Like Sam Bankman-Fried, he had options. He wanted to move to the Bahamas, and he did. He wanted to live with his buddies in a penthouse, and he did. He wanted to, support some, specific, and just have a look at them, in the news, and you're going to see who they were. But he wanted to support high profile political figures, and he did, right? But forget him, forget them. What about you? Like, the reason I think you want to build a multiple six figure business is to give you options, right? I wanted to move to an island, and guess what? I did. You want to move to an island? Can you? Well, I'll tell you, if you build a successful business coaching company and you do the majority of your work over the phone and on the internet, you will be able to go work in. You want to move to Mexico? Go for it. You want to move to a Caribbean island? Go for it. You want to move closer to your kids? Go for it. You want to be closer to your grandkids? Go for it. You want to live, you want to move into a bigger house? Go for it. You want to buy a BMW? Go for it. You want to buy a Mercedes? Go for it. You want to buy a convertible sports car? You'll be able to go for it. The bottom line is that when somebody is successful in business, and why I think we prop them up, not in the same way that I'm describing a minute ago with, putting a crown on somebody's head, but, a successful business owner will tend to be a very popular figure locally. And the reason why is that individual has options, right? So, when you're sitting with, Jerry Maguire, right? You've probably seen that movie. He's sitting in first class. She's with her kid in the, the back, we'll go the back of the bus, right? Economy. And she sees up and she says that is first class, it doesn't represent first class, it represents a better life, right? Well, those options when you drive by in a Tesla represents a better life, right? So I don't know. I think maybe the value there that I see, it's that understanding why you're doing all this stuff, understanding why your clients are doing all this stuff, I think is really, really important. I also think that we then lose sight because I think that if you write down the options you would love to enjoy now, like moving to Mexico, buying the Tesla, buying the BMW, buying the sports car that only drives in the summer, the Spider, the convertible version of it. When you actually get there, you're probably going to find that you move the goalpost, move the goalpost, move the goalpost. So at no stage do you actually celebrate the success. I used to say for a long time, or consistently that like it's such a shame that people will follow a sports team. Okay, let's say the Miami Dolphins, the New England Patriots, the New York Yankees, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the New York Rangers, whoever it is, right? Your sporting team, or even it's your local junior club where it's the best under 21 players, or it's the college team, and then you'll go and the team wins. You celebrate with everybody in the stadium, or you celebrate in front of the TV. When your team wins, you have a great night. When your team loses, you end up having a bad day or a bad night, right? Well, and I then think playoffs, right? And then they win the series, they win the game, they win the championship. Think of the level of celebration that you have for them. Well, you need to do that for you, right? Like, where are your pats on the back, your high fives, your wins, your playoff series wins, and ultimately your championship? And I dare say that you probably don't have them. In other words, you're not celebrating your own success. All you're doing is setting, goalposts and then pushing them further and further and further away. You got to make sure that when you accomplish that stuff, you hit six figures with your coaching company, you hit $250,000 with your coaching company, or your client hits six figures net profit, and then your client hits $250,000 a year net profit. Your client has the 2 week vacation without their phone, without their computer. That you make sure you have that celebratory moment. Did I say that right? Celebratory. I'm going to try to say that again. Anyway, so options. I think that's really important. And maybe, and that comes to what is the most popular speech of all time? Okay, as I asked you that, what is it? Can you answer it? And there's a really, really good chance you know exactly what it is. It was Martin Luther King. And then if you weren't thinking that a second ago, or even if you were, what I want to ask you was, what were the four words that came out of his mouth? I have a dream. You were right, right? You knew that already, right? So I have a dream. My question is, so he didn't say I have a step-by-step plan. He didn't say that I have an ABC 1, 2, 3 level roadmap that I'm going to provide you. What he said is I have a dream. When you talk to a business owner, or you talk to a joint venture partner like an accountant, the business broker, the networking organization, the promotional company, the person with 100, 200, 500, 1,000 clients so they could refer to you, how are you talking to them? And I want to encourage you to think of that. If you had like a massive dream and a massive goal that is not financial in any way, shape, or form. That is, I said in my podcast, my YouTube channel recently, riding my bike along the beach to do. But I was talking about, um, like, if your goal was to eradicate business failure within the next 3 years. Or you were talking, if you read my emails, in the bottom of every one, I mentioned separations, divorces. Well, the reason I do that is like you are listening to the poster child of entrepreneurial family gone sideways, right? So it's just, and again, parents got divorced, nobody's speaking. My brother committed suicide. Um, and then nobody's talking to one another, and I was the youngest, and I got pulled back and forth. If I was with my dad, I was doing the wrong thing by my mom. If I was with my mom, I was doing the wrong thing by my dad, and not in a direct black and white way, but in a very much, there's very much, that's the way that I felt, right? In fact, that was, yeah, look, and then it's stepmommy, and then you know what I mean, and it's all these people that I didn't want to meet. It was just a big disaster, right? Well, remember, marriages break up from lack of money over lack of love times a million, right? So and I get comments on that, and I believe that as business coaches, yes, we help people grow businesses, but I truly believe, much like an ambulance driver, we save lives. And I can tell you that that absolutely happens. Just think of when the business goes sideways, what happens? And it rhymes with depression. It rhymes with severe depression. It rhymes with drugs that you use to then take yourself out of depression. It's loss of sleep. It's loss of motivation. It's dad or mom in bed in the fetal position, and then there's kids, by the way, normally at a very, very impressionable age during this period that are witnessing all of this. And how healthy of an environment is that? And the answer is it's not. So anyway, so what am I getting at? I have a dream, and that's, by the way, I'm kind of going to my story a little bit. My dream, the reason why I do what I do many, many years later. Like my brother committed suicide when I was 16, so I can tell you that I'm very much live for two. It's always been something that I've done, which, by the way, is a blessing and a curse. I'm a very driven, very motivated individual, but that's amazing in some ways, but it also comes with a pretty steep price. Like at some stage it'd be like, nice to take a little bit of the pressure off, but that's just something that I am challenged with. But that's me. What about you? And by the way, if you're not sure what that dream is, or you don't feel like you have that story, like where it's Tony Robbins, where he was 11 years old, the guy showed up. It was Thanksgiving. His family wasn't going to starve, but they weren't going to have a big Thanksgiving dinner. And then there was a knock on the door, and no doubt you know that story, and Tony Robbins tells it all the time, right? Here, Grant Cardone, love him, hate him. The guy's a billionaire. He's doing something right. He talks about, he was a drug addict, right? And his dad died when he was 11 years old. He had a twin brother. Do. That's his story. Brendan Bouchard. He talks about, his girlfriend dumped him. He went on a holiday to an island, got in an accident. He was lying there, blood everywhere. He said to himself that I live, that I love, that I matter. And he tells that story over and over and over and over and over again, right? And then that propelled, he got life's golden ticket, and then he wrote a book. So, what about you, right? What's your dream? What's your story? What's your, the bottom that you brought yourself up from? And if you're wondering what that is, just go to your three most challenging situations, right? Like of all time. Like, when were you in the depths of despair? Your three worst. And I'll tell you that there's a really, really good chance that if you visit that you are going to find, why did you become a why did you become a business coach? Because you don't become a business coach. You don't decide to coach other people and deal with the emotions and whatnot, and just the psychology and all the challenges that go with it by accident. I truly believe that this is something that you're called to. So I'd encourage you to visit that. And by the way, that will become a very, very powerful story that you should be talking about on a consistent basis when you meet with the chiropractor, when you meet with the dentist, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and try move them in favor of deciding that you're going to be their mentor, you're going to be their Sherpa, you're going to be the one that's going to guide them. Because I'll tell you, it'll build an insane amount of rapport. And importantly, it's not like it's some tactic that is why you do what you do. You know what I mean? And if you don't know what that is, a very profitable exercise for you will be something that will rhyme with meditation, where you go into a very quiet place and deliberate over, why is it I do what I do? What would I really like to see? What is that goalpost that I would like to reach? That ultimate goalpost, not the goalpost of six figures, but that goalpost of, wow, if I could impact my city, impact my state, impact my country, impact the planet, impact the people close to me and that entrust me, if I could influence them in this way, my gosh, what would that mean? And by the way, for me, you see, so I have been just business coaching. That's just something that I've been good at and good at for a long time. Built a $5.5 million coaching company. We used to do $400,000 a month in new small business coaching clients. And a result of that, I have now gone on to build software. I'm independently very wealthy guy, not because I'm good looking, certainly not because I'm tall, dark, and handsome, because I was introduced to business coaching. So that is why I do what I do. And there's nothing that jazzes me. There's nothing that juices me. There's nothing, frankly, like one of the greatest gifts of my life is that I get to help people become a business coach and then see them go on to have, similar successes by way of, and most people aren't going to go and build a $5.5 million coaching company. Most people don't want to, but what they can do is get started as a business coach. And when they do that, they can work from their home office, put their suit on when they want to put their suit on, take it off when they want to take it off. They never have to miss a, dance recital. They never have to miss a hockey practice. They never have to miss a baseball practice. They never have to miss a birthday party. Absolutely and positively. They don't have to do planes, trains, and automobiles. They don't have to do 2-hour commutes to and from work. They don't have to listen to a boss. They don't have to worry about you know, wondering if they're going to be able to get a raise. The way that business coaches get a raise is that you pick up the phone, you send out messages, you get face to face, toe to toe, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball on the phone with business owners. That's what you do, right? So anyway, so that's one of the gifts for me. That's why I do what I do. That's why I continue to do it. That's why I'm sitting here doing this podcast on Boxing Day when, quite frankly, there's other things that I could be doing. I could have very easily taken today off. And I'm here. So, and by the way, I'm not looking for a pat on the back or anything along those lines. What I'm trying to do is, again, not call you out, but call on you to reach deeper, to go and go make a difference. I have a dream. What is your dream? What is it that juices you? What is it? I do not have an alarm clock. I have not woken up with an alarm clock. I don't even remember almost what an alarm clock looks like. If I'm not catching a plane to go somewhere as an option that I choose to go, not because I have to go, well, that's not, I had a work event in Cancun recently, right, where we did business coaching mastery. Okay, that I want to jump. I absolutely wanted to go, and then I want to jump on that exact plane on that exact day at that exact time. Hopefully, you're taking what I'm saying with a grain of salt, right? There's always things that you're going to have to do, but an alarm clock is something that I don't have. I am not a slave to an alarm clock by any stretch of the imagination, and it's because of one thing. That's business coaching, and that is what I do for a living is I bring people in and I hopefully help them. Well, we in 49 countries and we've built game changing software. That's what I do for a living. Who cares about me? You. What is it that juices you? What would you stop you from stop you from the alarm clock? Again, as a business coach, sometimes you're very challenged to get in front of business owners. Well, I say the reason you're challenged to get in front of a business coach is because you're lacking that thing. I always say, introduce me to a business coach with a lack of leads, and I'll introduce you to a business coach with a lack of confidence. So the homework that I'll give that individual is I say, write down 50 ways that you would help a specific business owner. Again, a landscaper, write it down. If you write down 50, not horse pucky bullcrap ways, but like legitimate ways to help a landscaper, an upsell that would work, a downsell that would work, a cross sell that would work. You write the same thing down for a lawyer, an upsell, a downsell, a cross sell, a market dominating position, all these different things that would help a specific type of business owner. And believe me, you'll be so excited to get a landscaper, a chiropractor, a lawyer on the phone because you'll be like, look, I'm going to be able to change your life because I've got 50 ways to help you grow your business. If we just implement 3 of these, my gosh, this would work so well. Okay, and the second bit of homework is you got to go find 100 local business owners that you feel like you could help, and I mean like get their name, get the owner's name, which by the way would take 2 seconds of work on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Get the owner's name, get the business name, get the category of business, and then have 100 people that you're chasing specifically. As opposed to, look, you could go to the local networking group and that's okay. But the problem is then they're deciding who's there, right? And if you feel like you could really, really help a landscaper, then it might make sense that you get a landscaper on the phone as opposed to a chiropractor because you've already got this list of solutions and maybe history and experience, and it's something that you did as a kid or you helped another business grow, etc. So I don't know. I hope that that helps a little bit. Um, and another thing, so Elon Musk is just something, again, when I'm talking to folks and I've seen this come over my email like crazy, and again, macro topics. I said recently that Musk, he bought, I think it was like roughly 50 billion. Okay. And then I said to Road Dog recently, I think it's going to go to $100 billion and that's going to double the value, right? The issue I see as I talk to you here today is that Elon Musk is like off the chain. And I wrote that in an email recently that I thought his behavior might be his undoing. And I really think he's got to dial it in on his Twitter feed and these sound bites. Like he's just pissing off the wrong people in a very real, tangible, and like public way. So like, tennis. Tennis is not about winning the most points. Tennis is about winning more games than your opponent, and like that is about winning the right points, right? Like you notice again, like Federer will play number 200 in the world, and it is often 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. It's not 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, right? And it's just specific points that you need to win. Like specifically in tennis, it's break point, right? If you see who has a better percentage winning, like a better percentage win um, on break points in a match, you will normally find that that is the winner. And by the way, unforced error is also insanely telling. Don't make an unforced error. Like Elon, he's going after Apple and Tim Cook saying, what did he say? Apple hates free speech, right? Like it's very, I don't know, like did Apple hate free speech? Like what kind of a statement is that? And is that true? And in my opinion, like it's crazy, right? Um, and then he was also taking them to task on the 30% of commissions that they're taking out of, small operators at the App Store. And and then also saying that Apple threatened to take Twitter off the App Store and he was going to create his own App Store. It's like, oh my gosh, you got to pick your battles here. And by the way, notice that Tim Cook didn't take the bait like some others, right? He didn't take the bait. And if you know this story, invite him down to Apple. This is very recent as we record this, right? And, Apple invited them down. And then Elon Musk takes a photo of him at Apple with Tim Cook and tweets out that him and Tim Cook have sorted everything out. Everything is resolved, right? Like if Tim Cook takes the unforced error here and responds emotionally and creates some weird back and forth on Twitter, would that be good for the Apple brand? And the answer is absolutely not. And that's where you just see Tim Cook take the high road. And then what I'm getting at, Elon Musk, I see taking, not taking the low road, but like creating all of this controversy with folks. Like, does he really want to be arm wrestling with Tim Cook? Right? I don't know. I just, like again, like a macro level. And then Elon Musk is also, just like free speech this and free speech that. And it's like a lot of the people that are like back behind him, they don't even understand what free speech means, right? Like Twitter has lost 50% of the ad revenue that it had before Elon took over. And believe me, that is not what he thought. He did not think that that was going to be the case, right? Um, and then everybody just assumes that Elon can just sell Tesla stock or he's got all this money sitting in his bank account where he can keep Twitter afloat until he can find his feet, right? And that is just not, because you got to understand if he goes and sells off $50 billion of his own personal Tesla stock, what happens there? And the real issue I see, like, who's the real loser in the Twitter debacle? And it's Tesla, right? Like Elon's pissing everybody off and acting like what I think is a bit of a high school bully in many ways on Twitter. Um, And the car that you drive is like a monster social signal, right? Like it represents the car that you drive represents your personal brand, probably more than anything else, any other purchase in your life. So your car, in so many ways, says what? This is who I am, right? Like when you buy a BMW, that says something about you. When you buy a high end Mercedes, that says something about you. And it rhymes with I'm classy, right? When I bought a Porsche Turbo Cayenne as a family vehicle, what do you think I was saying? The truth is, I was saying I'm rich, I'm masculine, and I'm truculent, right? When you buy a Tesla, you're saying I'm rich, I'm forward thinking, look at me. I care about the environment, by the way. I don't think Tesla says that anymore, right? Like my wife used to be all about Tesla and like their biggest fan. I have quietly noticed, as you know, again, like, because you understand the Tesla brand is 100% tied to Elon Musk's name, right? Well, I don't see her. I just quietly noticed that she's not all about when you know, I just see that she's all of a sudden a little less about Tesla. And I've just quietly been intentionally kind of just throwing the name out Tesla in some conversations, right? Um, and part of that, well, here's one of the problems is there's now competing options available, right, that haven't been available to debt, like BMW, Range Rover, Porsche. They've all got these high end, fully electric cars either out or they're coming out, right? I think Hummer's coming out with something as well, right? Um, to date, Tesla's been the only real option in that high end bracket of Tesla. um, so Tesla basically created that category and others are coming in. It's like, remember Netflix used to be like standalone. They created this category of like, just online, streaming and, watching movies. And then, by the way, look at their share price. They were valued at, I don't even know what it was, but I'm just going to call it 200 billion. I might be off, but it's, something that rhymes with 200 billion. Well, the problem is now there's Amazon Prime, which I bet you have, right? There's Disney. If you have kids, I bet you got that too. There's HBO, there's Apple, there's all these other options now available that compete with Netflix. That when Netflix was up, when Netflix came out and they created that category, it was basically standalone, right? Well, look at Netflix's share price today, and then look at it where it once was at its highest, and it's off like as I talk, it's off 50%, right? And I don't see it recovering anytime soon, right? Your clients should be making lots of money. You, as a business coach, should be making lots of money. And what do you do with that money? You invest it. If you're doing anything other, if you're not taking time to invest your money, you are making a grave error to your future self and your family, hopefully a legacy that you might be able to leave behind in some way, shape, or form. But let me just tell you, what Elon is doing is he's politicizing Tesla intentionally or unintentionally. And it's going from a $500 billion company to a $250 billion company. That's market cap, right? As a result of high level corporates losing trust, high level individuals losing trust. And I believe it has a lot to do with his behavior, right? Translation here is he can take Twitter from 50 billion to 100 billion the way that I predicted, and I still predict that that will happen. Might take a little bit longer, and it might even be a shorter period of time. But he is going to do that. And if he keeps doing it in the same manner that he's doing it, he is going to lose $200 billion in doing so, right? By losses in Tesla stock, right? I, you know, so, and by the way, translation here, you're investing. I wouldn't be buying Tesla stock anytime in the near future, and you're probably going to see that like they've got a lot of good systems in place, and they have got massive pent up demand, so they're going to be moving a lot of cars, and that kind of stuff is going to make the newspapers, and it's going to be on Business Insider, etc. But I still think their share price is going to take a tumble, and I just being cautious. Once again, on a macro level, I think that, being able to talk to your clients in this way, because you see, I don't want to just, yeah, like it's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? And I want to be able to advise my clients and I want to be thinking about these macro level concepts. And do you need to become an expert in this kind of stuff? No, this is just stuff that I personally am very passionate about. I love it. I think that there are so many really by looking at these, Tesla, Netflix, these massive companies, Amazon, Meta, as in Facebook, etc., and seeing what they're doing and then how their decisions reflect stock price, etc. I think that you can, take micro example, granular examples from that for, small business clients. Not to mention, it's very important that, as I said earlier, that no, it's not important. I think that the level of credibility that you can get by talking macro level concepts in an intelligent way is incredible. Because again, I don't want to just make you money. I want to make sure that people are investing and they're investing in the right way and they're knowing what to look for. Like, you don't want to read, it's like the reason to buy Bitcoin is not because the price is up and down, it's about the foundation of it. And no doubt you can see that the foundation of it has been cracked in a very real and tangible way. Do I think crypto is going to disappear? Absolutely not. The technology behind crypto is unbelievable. But people think of crypto and they think of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not crypto, right? I think the technology behind crypto is totally game changing. Do I think the entire industry is vulnerable? The answer is people a million times smarter than me will tell you that it's more than vulnerable right now. So again, but again, do I know? Does Warren Buffett know? Does Ray Dalio know? Does Tony Robbins know? The answer is no, right? Where it's going to go. But be very, very careful to read Business Insider and see that, Tesla's pumping out more cars and selling more cars than they ever have, because I would be interested. So have a look at that, but then also watch the share price at the same time, because I think without this macro view that you would read that, and then you're talking to your clients and it's like, oh yeah, Tesla's killing it, Elon's killing it, to do. But then finding what's actually happening is the stock price is tumbling big time. And it's about a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about here. It's, the competition, the fact that they created this category, but now he just doesn't own it. And how many BMWs and how many Mercedes and how many Range Rovers and how many Hummers are getting sold as electric vehicles as well. Um, I don't know. Um, that's what I think about that. You should also be guiding your clients on not just making money, but you can get lucky and make it. You can't get lucky and keep it, is my saying. When I do business coaching mastery, I've got a sign that normally stands like either right beside me on stage or right near the stage. That's exactly what it says. You can get lucky and make it. You can't get lucky and keep it. You don't want to get rich for a week or a month or a quarter or a year. How many people do you know um, that they talk about the heyday and when they were worth this and they were making 250 grand a year and their business was crushing it, and today what are they doing? And the answer is they're not basking in that previous glory, they're basking in the story of previous wins and kick-ass times. And now that is not the case, whereby the money got lit on fire. Why? You can get lucky and make it. You can't get lucky and keep it. I think that these macro topics are super important. Speaking of macro topics, it is close to New Year's. And what is your client going to do? What are you going to do? You're probably going to make some 12-month goals. And even as I say that, what's going to come out of my mouth next. You're probably not going to achieve them. They're probably going to be gone within, like, you know what I mean? Like, what do they say? Like the average New Year's resolution is like lit on fire within like 14 days, right? Pretty scary. As a business coach, I'd like to think that you're better than that. You're going to be able to plan better, create better goals. But I want to give you a hack. I want to challenge you this year to not create any New Year's resolutions. I want you to create some 90-day resolutions. Just create a 90-day plan. And by the way, if you create a 90-day plan, a 60-day plan, a 30-day plan, a 3-week plan, 2-week plan, 1-week plan, and then 1-day plan, and have them all rhyme with one another and coalesce, I think that I would challenge you to see that if that might dramatically increase the magic or the impact that this year has. Start off with a 90-day plan. And by the way, help your client do the exact same thing. Create a 90-day plan instead of creating a instead of 12-month goals. I think you should. I think that that's a hack, and I think that that would do well for you. Um, yeah, I think that that's important, and what would like make sure that it involves consistency. Did I say earlier? I might have said it in the pre-show, but like, it's not. It's an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's not 7 apples on Sunday because I forgot, right? An apple a day. It's just every single day. If you picked up the phone, I used to have this rule 10 before 10. My clients, I would make them make 10 phone calls before 10. And I'm telling you, the only problem with it was sustainability in that it created so much work and so many wins that they couldn't keep up. That was the problem. That'll be your problem, right? But if you created a roadmap for yourself and maybe if that's 10 phone calls before 10, if that's too much for you and it shouldn't be, but maybe it is, just make sure that you speak to 3 business owners every single day. And let's assume you want to take weekends off because you got kids or you want to have a great life. And a great life to you is having Saturday and Sunday off. You could debate that. You could take that as that's just the way you like to run your life, and that's good. Um, then just do it Monday to Friday is what I'm getting at, right? And then when you speak to a business owner, what I always try to do, like as a what I would refer to as a frame. If you followed my stuff, I like frames, right? If I speak to somebody on a phone call, what I try to do, my goal is to solve a problem. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to be on the phone call with me, I want it to be profitable. And I don't want to sit there and I don't want, the pattings of the backs and the, oh my gosh, you're so great, as in me telling them, but them to, who cares, right? None of that. And by the way, a little bit of this, whatever, that in some, frankly, this could be a good thing to butter somebody up and that make them feel confident and that they're doing well and recognize a success. If you know what I mean, like that can be a good frame, right? But I'll tell you, if you get on the phone, if I get on the phone with somebody, what I want to do is solve problems, right? And by the way, here's the biggest hack of all time of solving a problem. It's if you want to solve a problem, if you clearly define it, which is hard to do, about 10 times harder than you think, if you clearly define the problem, you'll actually find that it's almost like the solution becomes painfully obvious, right? So, what did I just say? Call 3 business owners. No. Take that back. Talk one-to-one with 3 business owners every single day, right? And let's just go 90 days and let's do Monday to Friday so you can have your Saturdays and Sundays to yourself, which by the way, I think is great. And I don't want to sound like I'm being like that. I encourage that if that's the lifestyle that you want. And I think that's an understanding the lifestyle that you want is very important, right? Maybe you want to continue to help people on Saturday and Sunday, then help 3 business owners on Saturday and maybe even Sunday, right? But help 3 business owners every single day. And then when we say help them, get them on the phone and then don't just and inviting them to your event and inviting them to do a one-to-one consultation. And maybe you're using our software and you're going to find them 100 grand in 45 minutes without them spending $1 on marketing or advertising. All that is important, but I want you to be thinking about solving a problem that they have, or certainly identifying a problem that they have so that you can be armed and you've got ammunition now so that when you get together with them one-to-one on a longer call that you can legitimately solve it, right? And I just think if you go about life, go about business, better way of saying that, understanding that you are a problem solver. Like another thing that I talk about is business owners are always like, idea. Carl, is this a good idea? Will this idea work? Is this a profitable idea? Right? You've heard that. I hear that. You just hear it all the time. And a way better frame is to go to take your spidey senses and send them towards a problem, identifying a problem, and then going, can I solve it? Right? Because again, if you have a huge problem that a lot of people have, and those people are really easy to identify, you're going to have the makings of a very large business, right? So, um, consistency. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's not 7 apples on Sunday because you forgot. talking to 3 business owners every single day from a frame of, look, wait. Look, I'd love for you to come to my event on Tuesday, but look, answer me this. What is the current biggest challenge that you have in your business, Dave? And he goes, oh, I don't know. If you did know, Dave, what would the biggest challenge be? Well, of course, he'll come up with something, and he's probably going to come up with something that's very real. But remember, what he says or she says will not be the real problem. Hopefully, and as a business coach, hopefully you know that, right? Like what they're going to be saying is like the result of the problem. You know what I mean? Like you're probably going to need to go multiple levels deeper to be able to identify, well, no, here's your real problem, right? It's like, a business coach. I talk to a business coach and it's like, okay, so how much money are you making? And they go, profit, right? And let's just say that, after some very simple Q&A, we work out that they made $36,000 last year. And I'm like, okay, so why is that a problem? I'm like, well, because my lifestyle is like $68,000, so I'm currently losing money, right? And then I go, okay, so so for my head goes, do we have a lead problem? Do we have a conversion problem? Do we have a fulfillment problem? Right? What's the real problem? Like I go and now I got to go granular. And then we find out that the guy is charging, he's not working with us and he's charging $500 a month, 6 grand a year. And then, okay, so for 6 grand a year, what's that individual getting? And he's like, an hour a week, and then there's some follow up, and and I'm like, okay, well, hang on. The problem here is that you're not charging enough at $500 a month, 6 grand a year. Like you know what I mean? Like you're doing so much work for these individual clients that you don't have time to go and get more clients. And then the real problem is that they're not valuing their own talents and their own past successes and their own abilities to be able to help business owners and charge them real amounts. And let's call a real amount $2,000 a month, 24 grand a year, right? So bottom line is that, and then it's like, okay, so and then what kind of business owners are you attracting, and then what kind of problems are you solving for those individuals to do. But often what we're going to find is that there's really a confidence problem with that individual above all else. So what I've got to do is then help them. They need a higher level of training. One of the ways that we do it internally is helping somebody read financial statements. I have found we run, if you work with us, you know that we run a 4-day training on how to read financial statements, which is magical. And basically what you're doing is you're finding your high-end coaching fees prior to starting with your new high-end coaching client. Well, above much of what we've done over the last, many years, but, since, a software, we've basically had it in development for, a decade. I think it's been live for, I'm going to call it 7 years, might be a little bit off, but it's been 7 years. And then we've been, progressively building on it. I mean, if you saw my software 7 years ago and then you see the software today, I mean, you would have no clue that you're even looking at something remotely similar to what you'd be looking at both of them on a split screen and not know that it's the same thing, not even close, right? Idea is that we're building it. Well, that provides a lot of confidence and a lot of magic for business coaches that work with us, right? That's probably a 101. But what I have found is that the training, which is supplementary training to that on how to read financial statements, the level of confidence, the mojo that provides the coaches and the successes that I see come out of that training afterwards from the coaches that attend is crazy. What did I just say? It's again, often I'll talk to a business coach who's not making enough money, and the real problem is their level of confidence in their own abilities, right? Like their own personal self worth. That's the problem you got to overcome in a lot of ways, and we find that how to read financial statements can be a real bumper. Are you the landscaper is going to be a very different conversation than that one, but I'm trying to give you a parallel. Um, so, anyways, so can you guys hear that? The doorbell to my gate is ringing. I had to turn that off. So yeah, I don't know. Get 3 business owners. Am I doing a good job of that? I'm not convinced I am. So why Road Dog's good. He keeps me in line. what did I just say? Consistency is important. And then what I brought that back to is a frame of call 3 people, get 3 people on the phone every single day. Um, and I think that you are going to find that your business is going to go to massive heights and make things. Yeah, I just think you're going to get so busy. I just think that that can solve all of your problems. Because then what's going to happen? You're going to end up talking to business owners. You're going to end up solving problems on behalf of business owners. That's going to up your confidence. That's going to put some people in your hopper. That's going to have some people to follow up with. That is going to get you some clients. You're going to do some live events, and that's going to give you people to come to the live event. They're going to have people that they're going to know, and they're going to refer people to your live events, that sort of thing. So anyway, so I hope that that provides some value. Um, what did we cover today? I think macro concepts and just, I don't know what I think. I just think that, yeah, there's some macro concepts happening out there that I just find interesting. Maybe that's because I have a real boring life and I like to read. I like to read about this stuff a little too much. That could be what you could take away. But macro concepts I think are good, and I think you should be educating yourself on them, and then don't just read. See, the thing is, what I said today about Elon and FTX, etc. I don't know if you read the mainstream media. I think that you're going to find very different. Um, I just think that you're going to find they're going to spin a very, very different story. Like I said, you're going to read about Tesla, and they're going to talk about how many cars they're pumping out, and how they're breaking this record, that record. But I go, okay, well, that's good. But then I go, okay, well, hang on, what's their share price doing? And then I want to go, okay, so if they're pumping out more cars than ever and they're selling more cars than ever and their share price is getting hammered, my goodness, you know what I mean? Like, well, I want to, like, I don't know. What does that mean? The answer is I don't know, but I'm going to look a little bit further into it. Your client is not thinking along those lines from macro to micro, macro to getting a little bit granular. Elon Musk, again, to take Elon Musk and put him up, put a crown on his head and make him the greatest guy in the world. Good idea. I don't know. To take Elon Musk and make him the worst guy in the world, I think that's stupid. I think that you just educate yourself. You know what Elon is? He's somewhere right in the middle, right? I'm sure he's a great guy in ways, and then he's a complete, dog's breakfast, and acting like the high school kid that got his ass kicked. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's what I see. Maybe you see something different. I'm happy for you to see something different. What I want you to do is to not read what everybody else is saying, especially the extremists, the people that you listen to. They're so extreme on the left, they're so extreme on the right, and that's just be careful with that. But again, and what do I see? I talked about just. I think this is maybe a value. I said that he's going to take a $50 billion company and turn it into a $100 billion company. I think he will do that. I think in the process of doing that and the way that he's doing it, if he keeps doing these mean tweets and all these weird, you know what I mean, like creating these fights with people like Tim Cook, who I just don't think is a good person to be. I don't know. I don't know if I see value there. I'm not convinced of that. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you see it differently. I'm happy for that. I'm happy if your client sees it differently. But let's do it from a place of education. It's like my mother-in-law. She's here for Christmas, right? And I'm just going to say, I'm not even going to say what it was. You could probably guess. But there was a certain political figure that came up. And I just said this. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. This has got the capacity to take everything sideways. And I ain't reckon nor my family's, my daughters, like their Christmas because, some stupid discussion. I said, hear what I said. I said, can you debate this? Like, what's the rule of debate? Is you have to be able to debate for, and you have to be able to debate against, right? So I said, please do this. Here's a test. Can you debate for that individual? Because I can hear you're debating against, but can you debate for? The answer was no. And I said, okay, so you're not able, then I'm not allowing this discussion to continue. And then again, somebody else comes up and it's like, hey, can you go for? Can you go against? And if you can't, why are we going to, let's not do this, right? There's no point. What am I getting at? Elon Musk. If you want to have an opinion on Elon Musk, I want to challenge you to say, you got to be able to be for him And then you've also got to be able to be against him in terms of, you know what I mean, debate for and against and educate yourself in such a way. And I think that might be really, really powerful. Maybe what I'm saying there when you're coaching a business coaching client, like, should your chiropractic clinic advertise? I would dare say the answer is yes, but then should they not advertise? And what's the argument against that? Right? Um, if I was going to advertise a chiropractic clinic, what I would do is I would have a massage therapist and I would advertise massage over chiropractic. And this is a frame and this is not black and white. So take all of this as gray. But here is what I would absolutely do is I would have a massage therapist and I would advertise massage because I ask you the question, how would you like to have a massage today? And I bet the answer is very close to yes. Okay. Do you want to go to the chiropractor today? And I'm going to guess that the answer is, gosh, no, right? But if you'd been in a car accident recently, the answer is, oh my God, my back's killing me. Yes, please, right? So what I would do is I would use education as my tool, but I would advertise massage inexpensively, right? 2 for 1, couples massage free, with coupon, et cetera, et cetera. I would get people into massage. I would educate. I would have a great massage therapist. Think of a wife with the husband's the chiropractor and the wife's the massage therapist. You bring somebody in, and then it's like you take them from massage to chiropractic because there's some stuff that they should be working on a deeper level, right? Um, and then but your massage therapist needs to be education, right? Why does a chiropractor not? Here's my question: can a chiropractor sell a $5,000 and then far more expensive than that? Let's just use a $5,000 unit. Can your chiropractor sell a $5,000 unit? And your answer might be yes, the answer might be no. And if I put a bunch of chiropractors on here, I will get some yeses and I will get some nos. But I know this with 100% certainty, the way that you sell a $5,000 chiropractic deal, am I wording that right? Like, you get somebody to spend $5,000 at a chiropractor is by educating the end. I mean, how do I get somebody to buy a $24,000 coaching program? The answer is education times a million, 100%, right? So that's why you do local live events at the chamber. That's why they work so well, right? Um, what am I saying? Lost my train. So I think I was talking about Elon Musk. You've got to be able to debate for, you got to be able to debate, against. I was just saying, like, if you think a chiropractor should advertise, I'd like to know why they shouldn't advertise as well, right? Like, as an example, a chiropractor can only service people within, let's just say, like a 20-mile radius in, northeast, southwest. People are only going to drive so far to go to a chiropractor because you'd have to pass 7 chiropractors on the way to this one. Are we going to be able to get them to do that? And the answer is probably no, right? Because again, people value their time and they don't want to have to, beat a bunch of traffic to get to your chiropractic services. They just want to do that, right? They'll just go to somebody else. Well, so therefore, sure, advertise, but I wouldn't advertise on the radio because that's significantly too vast of an area. But would I do Facebook ad? Would I do direct mail ad? The answer is that's the way I do it because I could target that geographically, right? And only take myself out, in a 20-mile radius with my advertising, right? Anywho, I hope that, yeah. So anyway, so there you go. That's my take for today. But look, we talked about some macro topics. Consistency, again, you got to be consistent. What else did I talk about? 30-day goals, or sorry, 90-day goals over 1-year goals might be a good idea. Why do you do all this stuff? Why do you do all this stuff? Options, understanding why those options are passionate for you, why those options are passionate for the business owner that you're sitting with. I think that that's important. If I meet somebody and he's got 3 kids under the age of 10, or she's got 3 kids under the age of 10, I don't know. I don't need to look much. I got to really, 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 that person doesn't want to buy a red Ferrari. I'll give you the red hot tip, right? They want some time freedom and the ability to watch those 3 kids grow up, because they know, and everybody keeps reminding them how fast the time goes, right? Okay, so make sure that those are the options that you're discussing. You don't discuss a red Ferrari with somebody who doesn't want a red Ferrari, and don't in the same way, if you've got somebody who's young and's got no kids, or somebody's just got no kids and not interested in that time, but they're interested in the red Ferrari, then you're selling the red Ferrari, right? Those are the types of options that they're looking for. But I am interested. That is the reason why we do what we do and why you want to build a successful company. It's the options, and recognizing that, very, very powerful. To people, what level of conversation are you having? You're having a low level conversation? Are you having like a high level conversation? Remember, Martin Luther King did not say, I have a step-by-step plan. He said, I have a dream, right? What's your dream? That's what I want to know, right? That's what they want to know. And again, that's the level of rapport that will build really, really quickly and blow your mind. So anyways, folks, I hope that is helpful. That's all I got for today, sans Road Dog. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. And of course, New Year's is right around the corner. And of course, I'm time stamping this in a way that we try not to do, but just happens and every once in a while, and it's no big deal. So if you're listening to this and it's nowhere near Christmas and nowhere near New Year's, still make your 90-day roadmap, your 90-day goal, as opposed to annual. So anyways, that's all I got, folks. I hope that was helpful. God bless you all. I really appreciate you guys listening, but that's what I got for today. So take care of yourselves. Adios.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at Focused.com.